All right, even though Eco Lifestyle came out like a month ago and we're getting a brand new stuff pack coming up in 2 weeks, I decided that it was about time to do my Eco Lifestyle review. I wanted to give myself plenty of time to actually play with the pack, to explore with it in other worlds, to see that kind of cross pack compatibility. I just really wanted to immerse myself in it before I came on here and gave my like kind of final views. I kind of also want to go back and do kind of like a retrospective review on a lot of other packs that we've gotten for The Sims 4 because especially as like, we get a year out from some of them, I learn new things about them, or I kind of, discover that maybe they weren't as exciting as I once thought. So I really did want to give myself some time to really play with Eco Lifestyle, explore with it a bit, kind of work out some of the kinks of it, maybe really sit with it. A lot of people I feel like play it for a day and then go, okay, here's my review. And I don't think that's very I worry that it doesn't give the pack the time it deserves. So, Eco Lifestyle is our most recent expansion pack that we've received for The Sims 4. It's the ninth expansion pack in the series. Eco Lifestyle is also the series' first eco-friendly themed pack. In the past, The Sims 4 has kind of explored with this idea of being more eco-friendly, but not really in this capacity. Earlier this year, we did get Tiny Living as a stuff pack, but that didn't really affect any kind of environmental parts of The Sims 4. A lot of it was just kind of personal moodlets you get from living in a tiny home and whatnot. But other than that, there really wasn't a eco-friendly game kind of, effect. Because, that was really all of this pack. Last year, we also got Island Living, which did come with a conservation career, and we did see as you would play through this conservation career and kind of clean up the island, you would see, there would be effects like the water would get a little cleaner, the what are they called? The coral reefs would get a little bit more color in them, and the islands would just look, a little bit more beautiful. It's really only one island that was affected by this kind of proto eco footprint we could talk about. And I do kind of maybe later want to talk about the difference between the conservation career, the civil designer, and how they both kind of play with the eco footprint, because there is a big difference between wanting to conserve the environment as is and then kind of like going green and trying to make big impacts to be more greener and more eco-friendly. A lot of conservationists just really about maintaining the current state, while a lot of people who advocate for going green and green energy, they're really about, we need to not just conserve what we have, but we need to be greener. We need to improve upon what we're doing. So that's just like one kind of difference. You can see this is not just the first time in The Sims 4, but the Sims series that we've really gotten a pack that really deals with environmentalism and going green in a very meaningful way. There were, if I remember correctly, there were solar panels you could get famous, but I don't think they actually affected anything, and they were just kind of like, you're super famous, how this stupid thing. It didn't do anything. We're also entering a really interesting part of The Sims 4's life. So far, we've gotten almost everything that every past Sims iteration has had. There's still so much more that the game can still expand on, and it looks like they still are. For example, The Sims 3 had Generations, which came for gameplay for elders, adults, young adults, teens, kids, and toddlers. And we really haven't gotten all of that yet. We've had Parenthood, which really focuses on the parenting aspect of that. We've had toddler and kids room stuff, which gave us some gameplay for them, but still we could use some more. And as we see with each new pack coming out, we are getting more stuff directed towards them. Some other packs or some other gameplay things I think we're still missing is, I don't think we need like the fairies and the genies, but we don't have werewolves yet. I have a whole video about werewolves. There's just some things that we're still not quite have, but it does seem like we are getting. But then that still leaves so much room for what else will The Sims 4 do? Because now we're kind of entering the part in The Sims 4 life where they're really going to try to start defining those long-lasting impressions. You know, seeing this is the first time we've had a pack that really deals with eco and environmentalism at the forefront. So we're actually entering this really interesting time where, as they wrap up the things that we've had in past Sims iterations, they're like, okay, what else will we give you? What else will help really put The Sims 4, you know, above the rest? Or what will make it different? What will make it stand out? I want to be honest with you guys pretty upfront, and that is, this was an expansion pack that I actually was sold on from the get-go. I'm someone who's very invested in environmentalism. It, you know, although a lot of my spending habits, a lot of who I vote for, a lot of the organizations I donate to in my spare time deal also with environmentalism and have environmental issues kind of at the forefront of their, you know, their platforms. So to see the Sims team really kind of meaningfully flesh this idea out into gameplay, I was sold on. So going into this, I was already excited. I wasn't like a lot of the other people who saw the trailer and were like,
ew, no.
I saw the trailer and I was like,
ooh, yes.
So I will put that out there, because that does kind of affect when I'm playing the game and how it affects how I react to it. So let's jump right into this review. All right, so let's start this review with Creative Sim. So I really enjoy the new Creative Sim items. The style overall for the pack is pretty cohesive, which is nice. We have a good range for all ages, you know, of course, still not a super in-depth pack for kids and toddlers, but we did get some stuff for them, which I do really enjoy. The hairstyles in this pack are pretty nice. I'm a really big fan of that like new big, really like full kind of like curly haired look we got, as well as some of the new male hairs are nice too, which we like never get good male hairs. I feel like a lot of them kind of not too great, which I can't put too much blame on the Sims team for that, because if you look at like male fashion and male hair, like it's just not good. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I mean, I can't speak, this is a mess, but I'll leave it at that. We got some really great new facial piercings as well. In Discover University, we got the studs, which were nice, but I'm not a studs kind of person. Personally, I used to have a nose ring, so it was really nice to have the nose ring now instead of a nose stud. I know it's like a little minor thing, but they look nice. They do have some of the same placement issues that they had with the Discover University one, the main issue is really just with the brow. If you have like certain brows picked in the game, they don't always line up super nicely, and I do understand that's just, as of right now, there isn't a good way to place them ourselves, so it's not too bad. So if you are looking to make yourself in The Sims and you want to put in your brow piercings, you might need to make some sacrifices when it comes to actually using certain eyebrows. You might not be able to pick the ones or place the eyebrows specifically where they go in your face. So, but I do generally really like the new piercings. I think they look nice too. Like, they're like really good. The Sims team has really come such a long way since the launch of The Sims 4. Like, a lot of those hairs we got in the beginning of the game, most of them I don't use. A few of them I still do use. There's a few base game hairs I still think are really nice, but for the most part, a lot of them they're a little boxy looking. Same with some of the piercings are just like not good. So like, to see these piercings and these hairstyles compared to the ones at the beginning of the game, I'm like, it is so nice to see that change. And also, like, they're also just on their own, just very good. Like, even out of context, like, I look at them and go, that's a very nice hair that was made. The clothing overall kind of has this interesting look. The catalog, I wouldn't say is usable in every kind of style of gameplay, But overall, there is a good range. There seems to be a focus on either kind of like recycled, upcycled clothing, like some of the clothing looks maybe you got it at a thrift store, or maybe it's been passed down. It's like not super new. Some of them have holes, some of them look like they've been patched up. We also have some new overalls and some new looks that really just kind of like lean into kind of like a more hick kind of style, kind of like live, if you're into like a nice living off the grid, kind of like you farm your old things and you're just kind of like some hicks off in the woods or something. This clothing definitely matches very well with that. And then you also have kind of the like in some industrial looking kind of clothing. Like there's like that nice bomber jacket that I really like. As well as there's also some of the stuff that comes with the new career where you're working to the civil designer and the goal is to try to either make the planet greener. So those clothing items, very nice. I think for me the standout item though is the bags you can put on your Sim's head. I honestly don't know if I'll be able to use these as much as I want to, because to be fair, like they're very funny, they're very quirky. They're not super good for everyday gameplay, but overall I do really enjoy the paper bags you can put on your Sims heads. I think that's very funny, and that's like the kind of quirkiness from the Sims team that I just really enjoy. So, you know, overall, I say great catalog. Some of the clothing's got an interesting kind of hick view to it. This world isn't a super hickish world, though. I know we have that one family that they're kind of our hicks. But these clothing would be nice if you're going to live off in one of those, like, further off, like, forest lots in, like, Brindleton Bay or something. But also, they do fit this kind of style, if depending what kind of household you want to live in. Because hicks can live anywhere. There's hicks in my neighborhood. Next, we're going to talk about traits and aspirations, because those also relate to kind of like create a sim. These traits, once again, I wouldn't use them for like every gameplay, but they're actually like really good traits in the sense that they have like positive and negative effects with them. And as of right now in The Sims 4, a lot of traits, especially ones from like the beginning of the game and some earlier packs, they're just kind of boring, to put it nicely. Is that nice to say? What I liked with the new traits that came with this pack is that there's negatives and positives to both of them. Like, for example, the green fiend trait. If you don't like recycle for a very long time, you'll start to swipe and recycle your own items, which is a fun little quirk to it. And it also kind of like, you know, it makes you want to keep recycling, because then, you know, next thing you know, you might recycle all your gnomes on your lot. If you have the freaking trait, your sim will get negative moonlets if you buy new appliances, which once again, like, you get good traits from like actually digging from the dumpster and finding things. But then if you go out and like buy a couch, your sim like is upset because they've like spent money. Even when they like cook and like make too lavish of a meal, they're kind of like upset. So it's fun in that way because it really does push a certain kind of gameplay. Like I said, it's not super usable in like the overarching game. Like if I were living in another world and was not really going to deal too much with the eco lifestyle thing, maybe just kind of keep it in the background, kind of like seasons, and either, you know, like reap the benefits or the deal with the negative effects of whatever that world was like. You know, and if I wasn't playing with like the freegan trait or whatever, like, you know, I wouldn't miss it. But, you know, if I was playing with the freegan trait and maybe trying to do like, I don't know, some kind of like, you know, get famous thing, you know, I just feel like it could be fun, but it wouldn't be best suited. But, you know, there's definitely like good uses for these traits in different gameplay. Like one thing I was thinking of, if you're going to do a rags to riches, these would be good traits to have, especially the freegan one, because it like really does give you a motivation to not buy anything and just to find everything in the dumpster and to fabricate everything, which I think is nice, because like every time I play rags to riches, I have like this desire, like I'm just going to build the house, I'm just going to buy things once I have enough money. But like with this, there's like actually like a negative effect if you do that, so it's nice. It's a good thing. Overall, though, all of the traits and aspirations seem to push this going green narrative, which I'm really into. But it would have been nice if we had some traits or aspirations, or even like an NPC that was like really pushing the industrial lifestyle. Because with this game, I know this next part kind of more relates to gameplay, but I'm going to tie it in here with traits and aspirations. When you first load up in this world, within the first few days of living there and playing in that world, like Nox will come up, or Beth, or Bess, not Beth, Bess. They'll come up and they'll like introduce themselves and they'll talk about like what their role in the community is and try to get you involved with, their plans on like making the world more green or sustaining the green, no matter where, depending where you live. And I just wish there was like some traits or an NPC even who's just like kind of like pushed maybe towards going more industrial. Even though Bess and Nox like want the same goal, and they kind of like bump heads. Like essentially they want the same goal. They just have two different ways of going about it, which once again makes for interesting gameplay, but it would have been more fun if there was like another NPC who is like, the environment's fine. Everyone who's complaining, like, just like, I don't know, I feel like it could have been fun to have like an NPC who's like,
What? Industrialization's not too bad. Like, it's just a little cough.
like you like downplay it. I don't know. It could have been fun, especially since like we have like the conspiracy theorists, the scientists, the like military personnel, like NPCs bopping around, and we also have the most annoying ones, the paparazzi. I hate the paparazzi. I don't want to deal with these paparazzi, and I'm not even like the celebrity on the lawn. Like, get them away. Anyways, so there's something I wish. Anyways, let's switch into buy and build mode. So as a builder, I was really interested to see like what was in this pack. I love playing The Sims, but I also really just like love building in it. It's probably one of my favorite parts. And we've got some really great items with this pack. There's a lot of items like couches and stuff that like look like refurbished, made out of upcycled material. So I really do enjoy that. And we also have this separate, because when you do the show hidden items menu, you'll get all the clothing that you can build, or not clothing, furniture that you can build with the fabrication machine. And these are really nice. They make a nod back to The Sims 1, which is fun. And also like they're just like decent items. And like they're not super ugly. They're not like the like toilets you build like with the wood, like the wood making. Like I hate how the toilets with the wood building machine, with the wood block station, whatever you want to call it, the wood building station. I hate how that toilet looks. Would not use. But I actually do like the things you can make with the fabrication machine. I think that's really nice. With this new pack though, an interesting thing is a lot of, not all of them, but a lot of the like wallpapers and floors and stuff will now come with a eco footprint. Usually they're a 1 or a 2. I haven't seen any that's like a 3 or a 4. Maybe I haven't looked hard enough. It'll either be like a green eco footprint or an industrial, and that ties into gameplay. But with this pack, there's a big emphasis on like the items you build with that will actually affect whether or not your world is a green kind of eco-friendly world or an industrial dirty one. And I have mixed feelings on this because this actually does make a lot of sense, because some materials that were used to build homes, especially homes in the industrial period, are actually not good for the environment. Either it had to do with like the chemicals used to make them, and how those chemicals then leach back into the earth. Could have been the processes used to make those materials were not eco-friendly. The material could just be very difficult to harvest, and harvesting it can cause like extreme environmental damage. So it makes sense that certain materials are going to have affect the eco footprint. And there does seem to be like a lot of thought process put into it. For one, the majority of the stuff that came with this pack, for example, tends to lean towards the green. There's a few that doesn't. Like there's the metal crate, metal container wallpaper that we now have. That has a very negative eco footprint. And once again, it kind of makes sense with the process of making it and the way that we just kind of like tend to discard those containers and just like let them fall apart and like ruin the environment. But then also a lot of the materials from for example, the wallpapers from Realm of Magic have a negative or industrial eco footprint, which makes sense because that kind of comes from the industrial period, and the processes to make them in the industrial period were very not good, and we're still seeing the effects of that on the earth today. So it does make sense why they did it this way. With that said, though, it's a little more annoying because it doesn't seem like a lot of the gameplay and the way you live actually affects. For example, with your electricity use, I don't know, I can't find anyone online who can confirm or deny if that actually affects your gameplay. And with playing, I can't tell either. So with this pack, there was a update beforehand where they redid the whole bill system. That way to better support this pack. And then also it helps if you don't have this pack also, but in it, it tells you how much electricity you use, how much water you use, and if you have solar panels, which are good for the environment and actually do help your lot go towards more green, you can either decide to sell the old material back, or you can select the you can either sell it back to the electricity company, your provider, or you can store it and use it, that way making your lot a little bit more greener. But like I said, I don't know if these actually affect the eco footprint in any ways. If not, I think that's something they should definitely look into adding in the future. I want to talk about gameplay next, but we're actually going to pause that, put a note, hang it up on the board. We'll come back, but we're going to switch over to the world of Evergreen Harbor and just talk about this world quickly. So the world is actually a pretty good size. There's 11 residential lots, and that's including 2 apartments which have 2 units each. So that's 4 apartment lots. Love it. And one of them is one that I think is more of like a standard kind of like apartment building, especially in like kind of suburb areas like this, where it'll be a 2-story and you have to use the stairs to get up to the 2nd floor, and then another one that actually has an elevator. So I think that's super interesting. This world overall, there's 4 community lots in total. Each neighborhood, because there are 3 neighborhoods in this world, have their own community lot. And then there's a bar, which is in the industrialized world. So when you first boot up this world, there will be a industrial world, which is the port area. Then there's another one that's a neutral area, and this is kind of like a suburby area. And then there's a green area, which once again is another kind of like a little bit more of a suburb area than the other one. And they each have their own lot. All of these lots by default go to the just community lot. It's called community lots or community space. And then you can change it to one of 3 options if you want. You can change it to a community garden, maker space, or community market space. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Overall, I do really like the look of this world. It has kind of like a Portland, like northwest side of the United States kind of vibe. I know in one of my videos before I talked about it, reminding me a lot of Twin Peaks, which is definitely kind of that part of the world. So I'm super into that. And I just love how the world looks. It's a very in my opinion, very like in-depth, very nice world. For those who don't like building, the builds in this world actually aren't that terrible. I would put them a little bit more on the level that we got homes in the base game. And I feel like, because I feel like the homes in the base game actually aren't that bad. They're not great, but like they're not like Strangerville or Del Sol Valley where like things were missing and the homes weren't fully playable unless you edit them. And there's also that thing in Strangerville where there's like these big homes that had nothing in them. Overall, like these homes are pretty decent actually. The the really only one is there's one manor with the Tinkers live in. Yeah, that home was awful. Other than that, the other homes are pretty decent. If you like to edit lots or like to refurbish lots, definitely you can do that very easily with these. But if you like a builder, if you're a builder like myself, these lots are like, they're not, none of them really stand out. So they're pretty, you're not gonna feel attached to them. So yeah, overall, like, not a. I love the world. The builds aren't awful, and yeah, and like I said, the one home that is bad is just kind of more like the Glimmerbrook bad, where like, yeah, the homes in Glimmerbrook were usable, but were just ugly. Now we're gonna finally get into gameplay. So this pack, like we've talked about, is really focused around going green. Update your lot with eco-friendly build and buy items like upcycled woods or solar panels to cause the world to lean towards going green, or go industrial with like generators and metal home containers. The gameplay seems to skew green. The majority of stuff in the pack is to help you go green. It is called Eco Lifestyle. But if you want to go industrial, it is possible, but it does take a lot more effort. And I get why they did that. There's a new insect farm, which essentially you raise these bugs for slaughter. They can be used to create biofuel. You can eat them and they will produce fertilizer. I was hoping they'd be a little bit more like the bees in the sense that like they would they would like compost things or something, that you wouldn't eat them. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm not really interested in like raising bugs or anything like animals to eat. I'm one of those people where if I had like chickens, I'd be like, I can't eat them. Like, I know them. We also got new planter boxes and also vertical planters. These vertical planters can also be used to make the foam meat on. So I do really like that they have multiple uses, and it's really nice. These vertical planters, I can see a lot of fun use for them, using them in like different worlds, such as on the balconies in oh my god, what's that world? San Myshuno, there's like one balcony. Some of the new skill items, tied to the new fabrication skill are the candle making station and the fabricator. I probably won't use the fabricator that much. That's just a personal preference, but I do really like it. And if I'm gonna, play the new career, or you can even use it for the freelancer career, which is nice. But I really do like the candle making station. I've been putting it on a lot of my community lots and in certain homes because I just think it's a nice little activity to have. Once again, just a personal preference, but I do really like these, and I like the skill they're tied to, and I like that they have so many uses. Like you can build new candles, or use the juice fizzing machine and make juices, and you can sell them on the new sales table that we have that you can use at the community market, or you can even go to San Myshuno and sell, or you could do a yard sale. I don't know about you, I've done the yard sale before and no one ever comes. And the people who do come, like, don't buy anything. So I don't know if the yard sale interaction in the game just needs to be fixed or something, but I don't know. Or if you have get to work, you could probably sell the candles in your shop or the juices. or any of the furniture you make. So there's a lot of, you know, cool things you can do with the fabricator, juicer, and fabricator. So I really do enjoy those items. Even though, like I said, probably I'm going to use the candle maker a lot myself. It's nice that we have all these other items. There's also 2 new deaths. There's deaths by flies and death by Beetlejuice. To die by flies, you need to be near a dirty trash can or dumpster. I believe the lot also has to have the recycle trait on it, because I believe if that trait isn't there, this interaction won't show up. But essentially, there will be these nasty flies around the dumpster and trash cans on a really dirty lot. And what you have to do is you have to attempt to bond or attempt to get them to go away. And you will get one of 3 interactions. The most likely one is that the flies will attack you, but like won't kill you, and you'll be left with a negative moodlet. There's one interaction where you've successfully either bonded or scared the flies away, and you're feeling pretty good about that. If you successfully bond with the flies, they'll like lift you up and you'll like levitate for a second, and you'll be like, yay, the flies are my friends. And then a less likely interaction, but still possible, is the flies will turn on you after you try to bond or scare, or, shoo them away, and they will kill you and you will die by flies. This is very similar to the death by flies in The Sims 2. So I do really enjoy that they brought that little thing back. And then there is the Beetlejuice death, which is a direct reference to the cult classic Beetlejuice. And how you do this is you have to have flag nuggets to then make a juice or a drink. If you have level 10 in the mixology skill, you can make a new drink called Beetlejuice. You drink it the first time, there is nothing. You'll probably get, I think you get a positive, if I remember correctly, like moodlet. You drink it a second time, you'll get a dazed moodlet. And then if you drink it a third time, you will be automatically turned into a ghost. Once again, it's a reference in Beetlejuice. If you say Beetlejuice's name 3 times, it has to be spoken unbroken. That's a line from the musical. 3 times in a row, you will you will summon him. But in this, you turn into a ghost yourself. And there's even like a little blurb that's a reference to the movie. I love it. There's the new career, the civil designer career. This has, once again, like many careers, 2 different paths you can go down. If you reach, I forget what level you have to reach at in one of the careers, you can actually make the vacuum thing where you can vacuum up smog or dump smog out into the world if you want to make your world more industrial. So those are fun things you can do. And then also, I kind of mentioned this before, there's a nice add-on to the pre-existing freelancer career where now there's a chance you'll be a freelancer fabricator and people might order things like rugs or tables from you or even candles. And I think this is super fun, and I'm really interested to see how this will now affect Plopsy, which is like Etsy. And I do like this because it's adding you a lot of new options for people who don't want to have their Sims, maybe work a 9 to 5. And then dumpsters just need to be discussed on their own. They're disgusting, but they're also great. They're like one of the standout features of this expansion pack, and I never thought I'd say that about dumpsters. The reason I say that is because you can dive for food, for materials, for deals, recyclables, and more. Like, there's so much you can do, like you can find in them. When you're dumpster diving, you can find TVs, you can find beds, you can also find like you find so much in them. Once again, great for a rags to riches challenge. You can also nap in them, and you can woohoo, and woohoo for baby and stuff. Like, so they're so much fun. They're just like, and what's great too is they have a limit. you can go in them and search for maybe sometimes you can get 6 searches out of them. Sometimes I've only gotten 2 searches out of them. So I do like the kind of, you're not sure how much you can get out of this, and sometimes you don't find anything of use, and that's fine. So I do really enjoy the dumpsters, and I hate that I'm saying that. Let's get into the eco footprint system, though. We've kind of touched upon this a little. And like I said, there's 3 states in essentially any Sims 4 neighborhood, except for some exceptions. There's a few exceptions, which we'll get into. But there's 3 states that Sims 4 neighborhoods can be in, and that is green, neutral, and industrial. All of the worlds outside of Evergreen Harbor, except for Destination Worlds and Strangerville, will come with a automatic neutral eco footprint. And I do get this because, for one, if you had an eco footprint in Strangerville, that would just be like, I feel like too much going on, especially if you're like, oh my god, you have like these possessed like people running at me, and there's like weird conspiracy theorists going on, and now like we're in an like industrialized hell. Like, I can understand too much going on. And it also, that world also already has its own kind of weather system, depending where you're at in the mystery. So I get why they're like, listen, we're just not going to touch it. But I am a little upset that they didn't have this affect the destination worlds, because I feel like this could have been a really great opportunity to also kind of explore and show how like tourism can negatively impact the environment. But once again, I do understand, because I could see people complaining that, like, they go to Selva Dorado on vacation and they're like, oh my god, it's like an industrial hellscape down here. Don't like this. But with that said, I do wish they would have gone for it. But it's fine. And like I said before, Evergreen Harbor starts off with each neighborhood having its own different lots. And depending on which game options you use, each will like move towards being green, industrial, or neutral. If you want a whole neighborhood to be in a certain state, you'll need to make sure that the majority of the houses in that neighborhood, if not all of them, are in the same state. For example, I wanted Glimmerbrook to be a green, to be in a green state constantly. Because I thought it'd be really cool to have like them flying around and doing magic under the auroras.
We're eco-goths.
And also like Evergreen Harp or Glimmerbrook is so beautiful. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. So I had to go through and make every household like really green. All of them have multiple like wind turbines and solar panels. One of the lots I just made completely like off the grid because it kind of worked with the gameplay with that household anyways. But yeah, I like really had to put in the effort, which makes sense. If you like want a certain world to be in a certain like, or a certain neighborhood in a state, you really got to work for it, which makes sense. But there is a problem with the industrial footprint. So I wanted Port Promise and Evergreen for when you load up my game to just be in the industrialized state. So I literally went in and made sure every household has an industrial footprint, yet it keeps like switching back over to neutral. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if that's a glitch or if it's in the gameplay, but literally I've made every household like industrial. And I even went through and like, because plants now, if you have like plants or flowers out in your lawn, those will lead toward a green footprint. And I had like all this beautiful foliage around the caboose, and I just like I got rid of them all. I was like, listen, if I decide to ever make Port Promise like green again, I will like better do that. Like I will put plants here again. But for now, this is staying. But yeah, for that one Port Promise, I like was really using the new metal walling the wall generators, and a few other items, like just to like really push it towards industrial, which one thing, I'm glad that you have to really work for it, but I hate that I put in all that effort and like it won't stay industrial.
All around me are familiar faces.
Let's talk about the NAPs, the neighborhood action plans. I'll just be on the naps for further on out because neighborhood action plan is a little bit of a mouthful. So another big aspect of this pack is the neighborhood action plans. The NAPs are different rules and regulations your Sims in their neighborhood can vote on. Some of these NAPs are like very fun and quirky. Other ones actually work on transforming the neighborhood and going green. None really go towards industrial though. So to vote on these, you need influence points. You start out with a certain amount of influence points, I believe, but you can gain influence points and use those to vote on plans that you want. And you can use them to also try to convince others to vote for the plans that you want also. You gain these influence points by actually if there's a neighborhood action plan in progress, by actually participating. I believe also going to like certain lots and stuff, like you can gain them pretty easy. It's not too hard. So townies and NPCs will also vote. So there's a chance that the nap that you want will not win. These naps also bring consequences and rewards. Some examples are like the back to the old days nap, where technology is supposed to be limited and you get influence points by playing board games, reading books, doing things that don't include using like the TV. But you'll also get fined if you're caught like watching TV or using the stove. So I think that's kind of funny. Once again, it can add for some more gameplay. Oh, also with that one, you also can get fined if you're caught woohooing. I don't know if that's just woohooing in a dumpster or like at all. Who knows? But I think that's funny also. However, some of these naps are only available in just Evergreen Harbor, which does make sense once I explain them. The modern development one turns the neighborhood very clean, maybe even a little gentrified, and will like update a lot of the homes to make them more green and eco-friendly. You'll also get public art projects installed, like the flower mosaics. Lot taxes will go up by 20% though. With the Green Initiative, the other neighborhood action plan that's only for Evergreen Harbor, you get more foliage and like you get generally just more greener, and utilities go up by 50%. While like the other ones can be implemented in like the other worlds, like We Wear Bags, supporting performing arts, sharing is caring, rough housing, and free love. The reason that these other two, Modern Development and Green Initiative, the only reason that they can be implemented in Evergreen Harbor is because of the way they change the world. It has to do with like the coding around that. Because if you get, the Modern Development one, the world literally around you changes to a more greener looking world. You'll get all the buildings will get different siding on them, like the more greener ones. They'll get grass roofs. Like they'll really just like drastically change, which is nice. But yeah, you can't really do that in the other worlds, and I do understand why, because they talked about, at least the Sims team did talk about, that there's a lot of like glitches they had to work through to get this to work in Evergreen Harbor. So I can only imagine how much more difficult that would have been in places like San Myshuno, the base game world, legacy world as they're sometimes called. So yeah, I understand why this isn't available everywhere. To say it, I do wish they were though. Like, I'm gonna be honest, it'd be nice to see like if you can turn San Myshuno into like a green world, but you still can. You just can't have these specific NAPs, and that's fine. But you can still use the NAPs in any other world. Some ones I want to touch upon, like the sharing is caring, is they'll just go around and steal things from other lots, like your neighbors. My problem with this one is I'd be fine if this was just affecting like my home lot. Like if, Bob Pancakes came over and like stole my fridge. Like I think that'd be funny. Yeah, annoying, but it adds a little chaos to the game. But I don't like that they're implemented on community lots too, because I've noticed that when this one is in like progress or whatever, when like sharing is caring is active, the Sims just start stealing shit. Like that they shouldn't. Like, for example, they'll take things that the lot needs to be counted as that lot type, or for that lot type to work. Like on the maker space, they'll steal the fabricating machines, as well as they'll steal like the sinks. And like, stop stealing the sinks. I hope this is a glitch or something that the Sims team can fix. Like I said, I don't mind like my neighbors coming over if this is implemented and like stealing my garden gnomes and stealing my couch. Like that's the kind of chaos I like in the game. But I don't want them to like be ruining the community lots. Like stop stealing the sink. Come steal my sink. I don't know. I love drama, but I don't want it to come to the point where it's actually making the game unusable. So yeah, if the Sims team could fix that, I'd be so happy. But NAPs are fun. The naps, they add so much. Like you can implement we all wear bags like in Willow Creek in like one of those neighborhoods, and then Bella Goth will just be bippity bopping around with a bag on her head. I think that's so funny. Another issue I do have, or this is for me not a huge issue, it's more of a non-issue. But one thing I did notice that I do want to touch upon with this is, so because of how the way the Sims 4 is set up, because you'll see, Sims from Sulani, Willow Creek, Strangerville, all in your town and in your neighborhood that you're currently in, you then have them voting on your neighborhood action plans, but you can't vote on ones in other neighborhoods. And it makes sense, but also on one hand, I don't want to say it like ruins the immersion of the game, but it kind of does, because, I, the player, know that's Bella Goth. Just because my sim doesn't know that's Bella Goth and that she doesn't live in my neighborhood doesn't mean that I don't know that. And I don't know if this could be solved by just making certain NPCs that are just for Evergreen Harbor and like will not go anywhere else and will stay in certain neighborhoods. I don't know, and I know it's hard because like there's only so many houses in each lot, because it's not like an open world in that aspect, where you can't just like, move into any home or whatever. But it is kind of like weird to just be like, oh, Nancy Landgrab is voting in my community. Like, I know she's a crime lord and all, but I didn't know she's gonna start committing like voting fraud. So there's also still a lot I haven't covered. And that's because there's actually a lot to this game. Like I said, I've been playing this now for a little over a month, and there's just still things that I just kind of stumble upon. Like, I only just like the last like week or so discovered Death by Beetlejuice, and I'm like, so there is a lot to this game, or to this expansion pack. I know a lot of people were worried that there wasn't going to be enough to really flesh out into a cohesive expansion pack, but I'm here to happily report that there is. Especially in comparison to like past expansion packs like Get Famous or Island Living. This seems to be more on par, in my opinion, with like Discovery University, where there is a lot of replay value to it. There's a lot of reasons to keep playing with this, and it really does overall really affect your gameplay. And it's kind of like Seasons in that way, where like it's almost like a background thing. Like if you have seasons involved, you'll get acid rain. If you live in an industrial world, you'll get the cough. If you live in like a more greener world, you get those like background effects to you. Like it's not like some of the other expansion packs where like it is you doing a lot of the work, I guess. Like it's interesting in that way where there's so much that your sim can do, but there's also a lot that's just like in the background, like seasons. So overall, great pack. There's a good balance. And even though I do really enjoy this pack, I do have issues. Overall, I think the pack is a great pack. I think it's a very solid pack. I will say it's one of those packs. I don't think any pack in The Sims 4 is actually necessary for anyone to own. Especially when we get into like, because there's like 8 million stuff packs. The Sims 4 has a problem with stuff packs, let's be honest. And I don't think there's necessarily a pack anyone needs to own. You should buy a pack if you think it will affect your gameplay in a way that you like. Like I wouldn't, like even though I think Vampires is the best pack, period, that they've ever come out with. It's so cohesive, it's so in depth. I'm not going to tell everyone that they should own Vampires because let's be honest, Vampires isn't for everyone. Not everyone likes to play with vampires. And that's kind of where I feel with Eco Lifestyle. It's a very in-depth pack. There's a lot to do, but you don't need to own it. But let's get into the things that I don't really love about this pack, some of the issues I have with it. And I've mentioned this one before, but we'll start off with it again. All of the worlds seem to just want to go towards being neutral. Like I mentioned before, getting Limmerbrook Green was like not only like a lot of work, and which does make sense. It takes a lot of work to make something, you know, go back to green and to be sustainable. But it just like Glimmerbrook will randomly go back to neutral and then a few days later go back to green. And I'm like, what's that about? I don't know if this is a glitch or by design. But maintaining an industrial world is the most difficult in my opinion. And I don't know if this is just because we don't have enough things to make a like an actual in-depth industrial world. But Eco Lifestyle like is really pushing this green narrative, which is nice. But if you want to live in an industrial world, it's really hard. Like I said, I've made Port Promise and completely industrialized, and still, it still wants to move towards being green. Literally, all of the lots have the little industrial like icon on them. They're all industrial world. Like it's an industrial world. Let's be honest. Yet the game still wants to push it towards being neutral. And this is kind of annoying. Once again, I don't know if this is a glitch or if this is by design to help you push towards going green, but I think they should put out a patch either way fixing it. I don't know. If I guess for me, what it comes down to is if I want to make Port Promise green, which I do eventually want to, but I want it to be like a slow process. I want it to I want it to feel like I'm actually working hard, and I don't want it to just go to neutral in a few days, you know? So that's one issue with it. And I would say that I feel like that's like the biggest issue. And once again, I don't know if that is a error, like a glitch, or if that's what they wanted. I don't know. Like I said, I came into this world knowing I was going to remodel all the homes anyways. But if you were to just play with the homes as they are now, Port Promise becomes a like neutral world without you even trying. Like if you were not to touch anything and leave everything as is, you just move in and you're like, maybe I'm going to wait for Nox to show up before I start going green. Well, the world's going to go green without you. So for those who are not builders, go onto the gallery and look for people who are making industrial lots to put in that world. Because yeah, on its own, it's not working. Another issue I have is the neighborhood action plan that cleans up all the trash in the neighborhood just kind of vanishes. Like, I wish there was some kind of rabbit hole or something, or a slow process with the trash slowly being picked. Like, I wish Knox could come to your door and be like, hey, I noticed that the community voted on the modern housing or whatever, the modern one, the modern NAP, the one that's just for Evergreen Harbor. Because part of that one isn't just that all the houses slowly become more green and more green friendly, but also all the trash goes away. So I wish he could come to your door and be like, hey, we voted on this. Would you like to come help me clean up the trash? And then, that sim could go on a, like into a little rabbit hole thing. And maybe when they come back, some of the trash has gone away. And then the next day you could do it again. I just hate that it just kind of disappears. And I feel like having this done could affect, like, maybe if you say yes to Knox, you'll get more influence points. If you have, for example, get famous and you say yes or no, that'll affect your reputation. And if you have parenthood and, like, let's say you, depending on what your teen wants to do, that can affect, their, like, their responsibility. Like, let's say it's like, oh, little Johnny doesn't want to go help clean up trash. Do you make him or do you have him stay home? If you make him, then maybe, like, his emotional control goes down, but his responsibility goes up, things like that. I feel like, because it's good cross-pack compatibility, but as well as also it just adds a little bit more to it. And then the trash doesn't just disappear because you voted on one, I think it could have been more fun. And I know some people hate rabbit holes, but I think that would have been a decent one. So overall, those are my biggest issues with this pack. Like, that's not too many. Like, I feel like it's fine. So one of the last things I want to discuss, though, is cross-pack compatibility, meaning how well does this pack mix with others? And I think the best packs are the ones that are able to be used across different packs, especially expansion packs. Like, I'm fine if, like, not every stuff pack I can use in every world and in every build. And I'm fine if, like, game packs can't be also used in every world. But when an expansion pack can't, like, for example, Island Living, which also didn't really have any gameplay, that could just be me. But if a pack doesn't have great cross-pack compatibility, then, like, what's the point? This pack, however, does. I'm happy to report that you can really mix this well with a lot of other gameplay styles. One of the first ones I'm happy to report on is if you have vampires, you can use the plasma fruit in the juice fizzer to make a plasma fruit juice. I actually really like that. I think that's fun. As well as pollution will have a negative effect on vampire powers. So if you're going to be a vampire living in Evergreen Harbor, you better start trying to move your world towards a green lot so that you can use your powers more effectively. If you have get together, you can sell like the juice fizzes in the shop, as well as, like, the candles you make. I created a second-hand shop, and I actually, what I do there is I have my sim dumpster dive, and essentially what she does is she then sells the furniture that she finds in the dumpsters at this secondhand shop. I think it's fun. It's a good way to make money. It's a good way to utilize the dumpsters and utilize the shops. And also it's just like a funny concept to me. And, like, in the description for the shop, like, it's like she has, like, the best furniture, but rumor has it she finds them all in the dumpster. Also, if you have the flea market tables from San Myshuno, or go to the flea market at San Myshuno, you can sell your juices and your candles there. We've also gotten these tables from Jungle Adventure and with this current pack. And like I said, you can put them on your own lot and do a yard sale, but it's never worked for me. But I have put these like flea market tables in all of the community lots. So every community lot has, like, this kind of, like, little farmer's market, and you can go there and you can sell the juices that you make. They're less effective, I've noticed, like, just at a park than they are at the latest communities spots, but you can still do it. If you have get together, you can make groups that are based on the new career or just some of the new activities. Make a group of people who like to go and do green initiative things, but also if you have the vacuums from the new career and you fill them with smog, you could probably also start a group of people who just like make everything dirty, and I think that could be funny. You can make a group of fabricators who go to the maker spaces and just make things together. Once again, just like fun, new, exciting things to do. If you have Get Famous, your Sim's fame will go up by voting on NAPs. I've also read, but have not seen this and not seen anyone else other than this one source on Twitter, state that you can use your like influence if you're a celebrity on voting and trying to convince people to vote for what you do. I don't know if that's true actually, but I want to believe it. I don't play with celebrities that much, so I haven't had a chance to test it out. Also with Get Famous, if you're a celebrity and you're caught woohooing in a dumpster, you'll be disgraced, which I think is very funny. If you have Realm of Magic, you can use magic to remove pollution as well as kill swarms of flies, so they don't kill you before you shoot them. And even though Strangerville will not have an eco state, you can actually make a juice out of the bizarre fruit. And then I feel like you could just sell that and then, like, I don't know, spread the mother plant's influence all over the Sims 4 worlds. If you're into that, I am. And if you have Seasons of All installed, you'll also get acid rain in an industrial world. So there's a lot of great things. And once again, these might not even be all of them. These are the ones I've just have read about and the ones I've experienced. So there could be a lot more still in store for the cross-pack compatibility. But right off the top, I'm like, this is a large amount of things you can do in other worlds, things you can do with other packs. It's pretty in-depth. I'm really happy about that. I don't know. So yeah, my final thoughts is I really like Eco Lifestyle. I'm really enjoying the gameplay. But like I said earlier, I don't think there is a Sims pack that I think everyone should have. There are ones I would rank higher, saying that you probably should. Like, if you wanted to get an expansion pack, I would say you should probably get Together, because that actually will really, in fact, like, that changes gameplay so much. Get Together is one of those packs I'm like, you really should get it. But overall, I don't generally say you should get a pack. So I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, you should buy Eco Lifestyle. But if you're interested in Eco Lifestyle or any of the things I've mentioned here, yeah, go ahead and get it. Currently, I believe it's on sale, at least for PC users. I would say if you're not super sold on the idea of like this pack, like you might like some of the features and you think you might have fun with going green, but you're not like super sold on it. You're like, I would say wait for it to be on sale. I think Sims 4 packs are just generally overpriced, even the good ones. Like University, amazing pack. I think the Sims 4 University is better than any University pack we've gotten in the Sims at all. But $40 for DLC, yeah, no. But when it's on sale, go ahead, get this pack if you're interested. It's a really good pack. I actually really do enjoy it, and I think even despite some of its issues, because like I said, there are some issues, but despite those issues, it's still overall really fun. And like I said, I'm hoping those issues can either be fixed or are glitches. Because yeah, the fact that the world just automatically goes towards neutral is not, it's not worth it in my opinion. That's just so dumb. But other than that, it's a great pack if you're interested in this subject matter. And even if you're not super interested in the subject matter, but like I said, might be interested in some of the new Create-A-Sim items, or you think it just sound like some of the new gameplay just sounds fun, yeah, go out and get it. Anyways, let me know down below, for those of you who have it, what you do like, if there's anything I missed that you think should be brought up, or let me know if there's anything that you don't like. Feel free to just, just have a conversation in the comments. Try to be civil. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell you that you should buy this pack. I will never tell anyone that they should buy a pack. This is your hard-earned money. But I will say, if you are interested in it at all, I do think it's worth it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.